The Soviet Union's 1968 invasion of Czechoslovakia showed that their ruling elite was very conservative and wanted to maintain its status. A re-Stalinization of the USSR allowed for dictatorship to be collective instead of personal, and coercion replaced terror. A rising standard of living contributed to the stability of the Soviet Union. However, the Soviet Union was facing changes. In the 1960s and 1970s, the urban population grew rapidly, exposing people to a better education, better job skills, and better sophistication. This increased the number of scientists, managers, and specialists between 1960 and 1985. People's public opinion grew, and people now felt as though they were worthy to have a voice in the government. In Poland, Gorbachev's reform caused popular protest. In August 1980, 16,000 workers at the Lenin shipyards in Gdansk went on strike and occupied the area. The workers demanded the right to form a free trade union, freedom of speech, release of political prisoners, and economic reforms. The government accepted these terms in the Gdansk Agreement. Lech Walesa, an electrician from the Lenin shipyards, led a free and democratic trade union, which they called Solidarity. It was highly successful, having 40,000 full-time staff and 9.5 million members. Even though Solidarity had great power, they did not attempt to overthrow the government. Solidarity confronted the Soviet Union in March 1981, and their leader, Walesa, was very moderate and only settled for minor government concessions and even dropped its plans for a larger strike. The Polish communist leadership denounced Solidarity, and the Soviets invaded and arrested Solidarity leaders. The outlawed and now underground Solidarity continued to survive. Meanwhile, Gorbachev made great reforms in Russia. Even though he strongly believed in communism, Gorbachev realized that the Soviet Union was not able to keep up with Western capitalism and technology. He attacked the bureaucracy's corruption and incompetence while consolidating his power. He reformed the economy by easing government price controls, having more independent to state enterprises, and settling up private cooperatives to provide personal services for consumers. He made the government more open, decreasing censorship in the media. Gorbachev elected a few independents to the Congress of People's Deputies. Finally, Gorbachev made improvements in foreign affairs by withdrawing Soviet troops from Afghanistan, reduced the arms race with the United States, and encouraged reform movements in Poland and Hungary. Ultimately, this led to the revolutions of 1989. It started with Solidarity and the Polish people. In 1988, Poland had widespread unemployment and inflation, which almost led Poland to economic collapse. Solidarity saw its chance and reasoned with Poland's enraged communist leaders. The leaders declared Solidarity legal and allowed for a minority of representatives in the Polish parliament to be chosen by free elections. Solidarity was later able to secure the majority by allying with two minor pro-communist parties, and Walesa became Poland's new leader. The new Solidarity started to make anti-communist changes in Poland, including eliminating the secret police and communist ministers in the government. In Hungary, communist boss János Kadar permitted liberalization of planned economy after an uprising in 1956. Then, in 1989, the Hungarian Communist Party held elections. They also welcomed Western investment and were moving toward a multi-party democracy. The Communist Party believed that they could beat the competition in elections by opening their country to East Germany. They opened their Iron Curtain to East Germany, and tens of thousands of East German refugees poured in and crossed into Austria and then into thriving West Germany. This led to a protest movement that argued that a democratic East Germany would be more desirable. The East German government opened the Berlin Wall in 1989. Its communist leaders were taken away and a reform government took place. Communism diminished in Czechoslovakia in December 1989 in the Velvet Revolution held by Václav Havel. This revolution forced the communists into a power-sharing arrangement, which resulted in the communist government resigning and an assembly being formed with Havel its president. In Romania, communist dictator Nicolae Ceausescu faced mass protests in December 1989. He responded by ordering this force to slaughter thousands of protesters. His forces were eventually defeated, and Romania had a new coalition government. By 1990, only 2 Eastern European states remained communist, Albania and the Soviet Union. Non-Russian republics demanded independence from the Soviet Union. In Lithuania, the people elected a nationalist as a president. Its parliament declared Lithuania as an independent state. Gorbachev placed an economic embargo on Lithuania but refused to use his army, which resulted in a stalemate. Gorbachev then asked Soviet citizens to make a constitution that abolished the communist power. Gorbachev was then elected president of the Soviet Union. Gorbachev's rival, Boris Yeltsin, was elected president of the Russian Federation. Yeltsin announced that Russia would declare its independence from the Soviet Union, while Gorbachev was trying to heal the Soviet Union. An anti-communist revolution swept through the Russian Federation, which resulted in Russian independence from the Soviet Union. All of the other Soviet republics followed, and the Soviet Union did not exist after December 25, 1991. In East Germany, reform communists wanted to preserve socialism by making it democratic and responsive to the needs of the people. However, this failed, and East Germany was greatly absorbed into West Germany. After Berlin Wall was opened, 9 million East Germans poured across the border into West Germany. West German Chancellor Helmut Kohl created a 10-point plan for unification with East Germany in November 1989. Kohl gave the economy struggling East Germans a one-for-one exchange of their East German money to more valuable West German money. In 1990, East Germany successfully merged into West Germany, forming a single nation under the West German laws and constitution. In November 1990, 22 European countries joined the U.S. and the Soviet Union in Paris and agreed to downscale all of their armed forces. The newly formed Paris Accord was a general peace treaty. The United States and Soviet Union also scrapped a portion of their nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, in Iraq, leader Saddam Hussein wanted to lead the whole Arab world. He annexed Kuwait, Iraq's southern neighbor. This started the Gulf War, which was won by the U.S.